Hey everyone, while you're staring at him, I thought I saw my blanket. My place is kind of a. Oh, here it is. It just got washed. That's why I couldn't find it right away. But before I get into my story, I actually will put it on my lap. This actually needs to be washed. It's been used quite a bit. I am a ambulatory wheelchair user, so the blanket I use, which is actually pretty darn warm, is a Bluey and Bingo blanket. And my boy, I think, oh, sorry if this switched around, but my boy and me each have our own. I actually like this blanket a little bit more than the one that my grandmother gave me because this was a lot shorter and easier to fold in my lap. I absolutely love that blanket. But me and him have our own Bluey blanket. Now getting into part 2 of my story. I was in this group home. I was not doing good. I was actually doing worse than I was here. It was just bad. It was bad. I ended up meeting this guy. It was I think, yeah, he was my first relationship. Galahad, lay down. I gave you a placement. That is his blanket. Thing is smaller than the one I have. But it just was up. Then I met Dum Dum. Don't come at me. The guy was dumber than a doornail. Couldn't dress himself. Not making fun of anyone that can't do that, but really got to me is his mom would always say, go to Smokey. Or my dead name. And the name I go by is Felcor, but I like to be called Smokey on the internet. Always have. But anyway, my dead name. And they would always, or his mother would always say that. And then he would go to me and felt bad for the dude. So it always caved in. But yeah, I lived and learned. Fast forward, we end up going downtown. I end up finding some people. We ended up staying out there, and I ended up liking it better outside than at the place I was living. How sad. It started in 2012, and I have to say it was like just the end of summer. Just the end. Maybe it was just the end of spring. Maybe it was just the end of winter. I don't know. All I know is the weather wasn't too bad when I was homeless for the start. His family came down and forced him. It was sad to go back to his house. But he needed it. And when I finally said enough is enough, I had a buddy, And I felt bad for that person. Literally, Dum started bawling his eyes out, and I'm like, seriously, dude, I've put up enough with you. No. That was the first time I got away, and I was homeless, and that guy chased me, literally, like, don't know how, don't know what happened, don't even care, but somehow he ended up homeless. I said, I'm done, and it was funny. One time he goes, this is my new girlfriend. I said to her, I said, I don't care you're going out with him. I just said to let you know his family crazy. Oh my God. And she goes, how you know? I'm like, I lived with him for years. Good luck. Then finally he left me alone. And then I slept here, there, and everywhere. Don't live near these places at all anymore. But I think the coldest was near the aquarium. Downtown, all over. You name it, I've slept probably there. Not, I've never actually slept down here. This is what area, because I stayed downtown. That's the only area I stayed. Downtown, that's it. Because it was easy. It's easy. There's a lot connected to downtown. And then it was like fall, beginning of winter of 2013. My dad came and picked me up, and he goes, you're coming go with me. I lived with him for a year. While I was living with him, I came in contact with someone who I was homeless with. Someone he hung out with was my second ex. And I'll put the thing on this, my story, because I've never really told my story from what I remember. I ended up hanging out with this guy. He was someone, he was the most awesome gay guy I ever met. And like, he had the best fashion. He had the best fashion. He had 2 service dogs. Were they real? Were they not real? I don't know. I wasn't in the service dog community, service dog world. I just knew that I needed one. I brought it past. That was a whole crap show. When I started being with who I will call Peanut. Peanut, I was with for a while. I was head over heels for Peanut. Peanut ended up taking over my apartment in a part of Boston. What's funny is actually yesterday, not funny, but I was dealing with emergency services, and one of them said they actually usually work in the area that I used to live in. Small world. But besides the point, I lived in this area. It was very, very dangerous. The park behind where I lived was a dumping ground, I will say. From what I've heard, it's cleaned up a lot, but I guess it still is, maybe not as much. It also was where adults would do adult activities. It was, I walked through there once at night after I saw that. I was like, never mind. But yeah, it was a very not good area. Still not the best if you're not living in that area or know someone that living in that area, I'm not even going to mention the area, you stay away from that area. Walking through that area, during the daytime, I was wearing a sweatpants, shirt, going to an adult store for adult juice, and yep, with going there one time, this person, he was dressed up as the old time, I would say, sort of a hustler, definitely. Got stopped by him, and then I figured out what he was, and I'm like, got myself away, because I looked at him, he goes, I dropped something going, and I looked and I said, you didn't drop anything. I looked at him and I knew what he wanted me to do, and I said, nope. I walked into the store, I left. In that area, it didn't matter. Oh my God, it was hilarious. These were like, it had to be, they were young. Probably around my age. At the time, I was in my 20s. And oh my goodness. Asked price, and I would laugh. That area is just not a good area. Got my whole house taken over. It was just bad. Then I can't really remember what happened, but I ended up out of that house. Then I ended up, oh, I know what happened. I ended up in and out of this, like, sort of shelter, sort of not. It's a mental health place, but when you are there for long term, you get a pass, and with that pass, you get to go out for the day. Doctor's appointment, day program, wherever. Oh, I know how that dude ended up getting away from me. My dad got a restraining order against him. I don't know how that, oh, I know how that worked, but I'm not going to get into it. It was a weird time. Then I ended up in the place that I lived before here. There's actually videos on here of me in that studio. When I moved there, I was terrified. It was a scary area. Pew pews all the time.